I lost a child in a car accident. It was 7.5 years ago. And it took me a minute to kind of go through his stuff. And the way one of his friend's moms was like she does kind of what you do. She came over and like helped me go through the stuff. And I was really paralyzed. And she's like, here's what we're going to do. We're going to create three piles, right? One pile is this goes now. One pile is this stays forever. And one pile is I'm not deciding yet. This is my limbo pile. And that kind of made it easier because I didn't need to decide in that moment.
Yeah.
I'm going back through the limbo pile and I'm like, a lot of it, really can go. And I was telling you before we started filming, during COVID, we turned my son's room into the Peloton room because you know how like the Peloton needs its own room. And I'm much more of a outdoor exercise person, but my daughter used it. But now she's about to graduate college. So I'm like, maybe I turn, the Peloton room or my son's room into my podcast room. So it's just this idea that as you grow and evolve, your space can grow and evolve with you.
And those choices that you make get to honor your son if you want to think that, right? Like you
Oh,
get
he
to
would love it being a like he would have loved YouTube. He was
Yeah.
making videos early.
Yeah, yeah, and so wow, I love the idea of turning the room into your studio.
Yeah.
That's really special,
Well,
Jodi.
and it changes the energy too, because I think right after, I've heard this a lot from people who've lost someone, like their husband died 20 years ago and his clothes are still in the closet, you know, or a loved one dies and it becomes almost like a living memorial, like they don't touch anything. And in fairness, I did that for about 6 months and then I was, we changed it to the Peloton room and now I'm like, let's just make it like a functional living space.
Yeah, yeah. You know, one thing my grandma did when my grandpa died, and this is way before me, I never met him. He died really early because of some poisoning on the farm that they had actually. I know, right? So it's anyway, when he died, she went and looked at his clothes and she chose her favorite sweater of his and kept that sweater and then told my mom and my mom's siblings, anytime I want to feel like I'm getting a hug from your dad, I put that sweater on. And so it's just, you know, if everything is special, nothing is special. And so for her, she would just go put that sweater on and all the kids knew, you know what? This is where mom's at right now. And I just thought that was really intentional of my grandma to do at that time. And then the clothes were donated and then all used and had second lives and help people that were going without. And so there are a lot of different things to do or a lot of different ways to declutter and a lot of different ways to go about it, especially when we are experiencing grief. And and so I just really thank you so much for sharing a little bit of your story right there too, Jody.
Oh, no, of course. And also just if anyone's listening that's experiencing grief, it's a process, it's an unraveling. And if you're not there today, that's totally okay. Trust me, it took me a while to get there.
Yeah, I thank you for saying that. You know, clutter is neutral, stuff is neutral. And there are
Yeah.
a lot of people out there with a lot of thoughts on how you should grieve or how soon you should get rid of things. And that's all they really are. They're just thoughts and opinions. And each one of us is unique and so we get to travel our own path. Some people, right, depending on their design, they get the yes, no, and they can get rid of things quickly. Other people want some time to kind of process and sometimes they'll say, "Oh my gosh, I've stopped decluttering. I'm stuck." And actually they haven't. They're not stuck. They're just in the middle of that processing. Nothing has gone wrong. And once they get their answers, yes, this is the right time now, then they keep moving forward. And so it's yeah.
I did something, I don't really understand it, but I call it like decanting. Like you decant the wine and you let it kind of sit. I had a lot of Max's stuff in the attic, and so I just moved it into kind of the main area. He loved tigers. He had some like kind of life-size tiger stuffed animals that I just kind of put out. And my dogs at first thought a predator was in the house. But even like moving that energy, like kind of changing where it lived, and vacuuming up where it took space. It's really interesting. Like it really does. Physical things I think have kind of energy attached to them. I'll never forget. we moved my husband and I moved here from New York and we brought like our little New York couch that we used to entertain on and then we had the babies and that's where I breastfed the babies and then the babies, like ate on the cat. There were blueberry stains. It was time to like leave. And we found this sweet family that really wanted it, and they came and picked it up. We gave it away for free. And I remember like that couch that had been part of our lives, like being so sad when that couch left. Like it was almost like this period of time. It represented something to me, and to see it go was interesting. And then, the energy changed and I got a more appropriate couch for, the stage they were at. But it's just, it is interesting. So I feel like I did that. And even sometimes I used to rearrange my room constantly as a kid, which is such a weird OCD thing. But I feel like I'm doing that now with stuff, like I take like these vases, I like try it there and I'm like, maybe not, you know, it was
You know
easier
what?
than your whole bedroom setup.
Yes. So, do you want to know what's happening? This is new information to me, but I find it fascinating. So, when we rearrange things, and then we know once the rearranging is done, we're like, yeah, that feels better. What it is our nervous system telling us, okay, you're now safe or you're safer than how it felt before. So, Jody, I'm the same. When I was a kid, I was always rearranging my parents' living room. They'd come home, open up the door, and go, "Oh, Heather's been at it again." It drove my dad crazy. And as a middle-aged adult, um, uh, we just made some changes in my home. I have a small house, and we moved. We made some changes. Well, my husband and our two boys made some changes, and I walked in and my nervous system immediately said, "No, I can't do this." No, it wasn't me being, hard to live with or anything like that. It was just I knew my body didn't feel safe. And all I needed to do, because they made some big changes, but all I needed to do, I moved one big plant away from a window and then I could see out. And for me, that's my nervous system, that's my design. I then felt safe. I said, "Oh, I can
Yeah.
breathe. It feels so much better." And so it's interesting, right? But I believe that's why we're doing it. And we make those changes until we say subconsciously, okay, now it feels good. Now it feels good.
No,
Yeah.
I like even where if you're at dinner with people, like I like to sit kind of looking out, maybe that's a safety thing too. Yeah, I see that.
Actually, Jody, so we might have so I've been having fun getting into human design and my husband basically is called a cave. He wants, to block any light coming in from the windows and a lot of people are caves. They want to create a really safe feeling inside the house, don't let the
Oh,
outside.
I didn't No, I like as much sunlight as possible. I like really big windows and I don't actually have curtains because I like to see as much sun as I possibly can.
I have a feeling that we would be very compatible living together because so I am a valley, meaning that I want to see out, I want to see far distances, I feel better,
Yeah.
I feel safer. And
Yeah.
always at a restaurant, I always sit with my back to the wall so I can
No,
look
me
out.
too. Well, what's interesting? I had a friend help me. I was cleaning out the pantry and she was stacking all these things like up top. And I'm like, no, I'm like, I like space up top. So we moved the appliances to like the next level down.
It's fun. It's this stuff is really fun, right? So all right. All right, let's pivot. I mean, I could
Okay.
talk with you, for 5 hours continuously because it's just so fun. And I love talking clutter with you, physical, mental, emotional clutter. I want to pivot to clutter in the essential oil industry. What is there clutter in that industry? I believe there is personally, but I'd like to know what you think of that.